Hey guys, Chris here from Project Nerf. Know it's been a couple of weeks since we put a video up, and I apologize about that. We've recently had two deaths in the family. Had an uncle and a great uncle pass on within a day of each other, so we needed some time to tend with that. But now we're back, and we're right back on Nerf ER.
Paging Dr. Chris. Dr. Chris to the ER. Paging Dr. Chris to the ER, please.
Alright guys, last time on Nerf ER we had done our external bonding, at least our primary stuff with the epoxy putty here. And today we're going to do some of our internal bonds with our Smoothcast 65D. So let's get into that. Okay, so as you can see, here, and here, I've blocked these areas off. And I'm almost done with that. I got one more little spot right there. Now, normally, I would do this with just regular old Play-Doh. But I don't have any Play-Doh, so I'm just going to use some of my epoxy putty. I'm not going to knead the epoxy putty up. I'm just using it to make a barrier to keep the liquid plastic where we want it to be. And we'll take this stuff out later once the plastic sets up. As you can see, we're going to pour plastic here, and we're going to pour this pretty high because we need, with the stock mount broken off, there's no stud here for us to attach our return spring on. So we're going to pour this pretty thick right on up to the top of the epoxy putty here. You can see we've kind of made a little wall here and then one right here. And in my cup, I've already got the one half of it, the stuff in there. So we're going to go ahead and pour the other half, roughly in an equal amount. That looks pretty close to me. We're going to stir that in. And that looks pretty good. We're going to take and pour the epoxy putty where we want it to be. Might build that a little higher. And as you can see, our Play-Doh, or in this case epoxy putty walls, are holding that in there just fine. And this doesn't take too long to set up, so once that cures in place, I'll get back with you. Okay. Well, as you can see here, our Smoothcast is set up nice, and these are good integrations. They'll be just fine. What we're going to work on now is the epoxy putty bonds on the outside. And this isn't too bad. Some sanding is going to be required. But back here, this is going to be really rough to integrate along with this. So what we're going to do is mix up a little epoxy putty, and I'm going to show you a trick that's going to save you a lot of work. And we don't need a whole lot, just a very small piece like this. We're going to knead this up and get it ready here. And what we're going to do is we're going to blend this back, and what it's going to do is kind of hide this integration line a bit. Obviously, we're still going to have to do some sanding, but any sanding that we can avoid doing, the better off we're going to be. So, get your epoxy putty mixed up here. All right, and we'll start up here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on there. And this is way more than we're going to need. So, now I'm going to get my finger wet. I've got some water up here. I'm going to get my finger good and wet. And we're going to start blending this together. And you're going to see that with the water on your finger, it really, really smooths the epoxy putty out a lot. So we're just going to keep working this until it blends in with the epoxy putty we've already got there, and we're going to blend it into the shell a little nicer. On the inside, just make sure that it comes off on the edge. It's not a big deal. Right here, just take that off. You don't need it. And go ahead and blend it as far back on the shell as you feel like. I'm going to take it off probably right about there. About like that. Re-wet my finger. And just start working this epoxy putty into the body as smooth and flat as we can get it. Now again, we're still going to have to do some sanding. And again, take off what we're going to want. And just get in there and shape it. Fight it around, do what you got to do, and then rub it progressively lighter, and you can see that that's very smooth. You can see what a difference just that little bit of epoxy putty makes. It's not going to make a seamless integration, but what it is going to do is make it a whole lot nicer with a whole lot less sanding involved to really get it smoothed out good. Really rub that nice and flat. And you can see that already makes a qualitative difference in that epoxy putty bond right there. So we're going to let that set up, get this thing sanded. There's a couple more little spots that I'll probably do just like this. But no need to see the same procedure over and over again. So we're going to finish up with this, get it sanded, and get it painted. Okay, now this is not painted, guys. I'm just using a matte black as a primer, but you can see the integration is really starting to come along. I kind of replicated this diamond shape here. And it's not perfect, but it's going to make a nice spot to put a logo or something. I'm going to show you one of my secret weapons when I'm doing this stuff for prep for paint. I hate these warning labels and stuff like that. So I've got a single edge razor blade, and it only takes just a little bit of work with a razor to remove that stuff. Now, my younger viewers, please get dad's help, or your big brother, kind-hearted next door neighbor, even mom can help you out with that. These razor blades are very, very sharp and can cut you very seriously. You're going to talk about needing stitches. We're just about done with that one. And hopefully you can see it on camera. That's very, very nice and smooth. And then if you take a piece of sandpaper and sand that as well. So I've got my 80 grit paper right here. So we're just going to buff that off really fast. Maybe a little 120. Right, and that is smooth as a baby's bottom. So that's how I remove all of my warning logos. I remove the strife logo. On the other side, you can see just how beautifully smooth that is. So any unwanted writing and things like that, I don't want. You can see our integration is really coming along very, very nicely. It's going to come out really good. There's a couple of spots where the black paint reacted with the crap that was on there. Doesn't matter. We're going to sand the whole thing down in prime anyway. I'm just using this to see how my body work is coming out. You can see around the handle here, all that's really starting to look very nice. So anyway, I'm going to shut the camera down, get that other logo scraped off, and sand the rest of this thing down and get it primed. Okay, now you saw all the body work we did, and I've got this thing finished sanded. As you can see, the integration came out really, really nicely. We've got this white base coat on, and next video we're going to go over dry brushing techniques, finishing techniques, and we're going to go assemble this blaster and get it finished up. So till next time, this is Chris for Project Nerf saying have a blast.